This review was made possible by contributions from viewers like you.
Hey guys, have you ever heard of the phrase, even a broken clock is right twice a day? Sadly, that broken clock has a lot more going for it than today's movie, The Clockwork Girl. Before we begin, I need to thank my executive producers at Patreon.com for selecting this movie for my last vote. Not only do we have this review to enjoy, but now we have an entry for my next anniversary special. Which is better, The Clockwork Girl or Jack and the Cuckoo Clock Heart? We begin with a little narration to lead us into this beautifully rendered steampunk paradise.
This is Haraway, a grand city of invention, prosperity, and peace.
Too bad it couldn't be a city of not looking like shit.
The people of Haraway are creative and industrious, excited about the advancement of science to better their lives and the lives of their families.
And abominations against God and nature, like this.
It's science!
Is it though? Yes, science is meant to improve our lives. That being said, how exactly does the creation of wing-end monkeys help anyone? Looking at this place makes me feel like I'd catch rust from living here. And apparently this city of scientists believes in only two kinds of sciences: technological invention and grafting. It's ironic that one of my favorite riffs from MST3K the movie is...
Oh yeah, this is when science didn't have to have any specific purpose.
Because while it's never explained what exactly that space waffle is, it does at least know that the term science isn't just a blanket word for only one or two fields of study.
Why, no biochemists, electronic experts, mechanical engineers. People equipped to make practical application of the energy the rest of us produce.
It's implied that science is the only industry in this city for all the sense that that makes, and we're introduced to the leading scientists from both sides, Wilhelm the Tinkerer and Dendrus the Grafter, the latter of whom is introducing his latest creation.
I present to you the first being ever created by grafting, actually grown from parts of plants and animals. A completely new person, with two hearts. These two hearts allow this unique creature twice the energy and twice the power.
Unlike my esteemed competitor here, my new invention doesn't need a diaper change to amaze you.
I'm sorry, but did that guy just Frankenstein up a baby? That's kind of impressive. It's hideous, but it's still kind of impressive. The Tinker scoffs at this little monstrous miracle so we can promote this nightmarish robot named T-Bolt, the function of which is to act as a domestic aid. Yeah, don't you want this thing stomping around your house and helping out with your daily chores? I'm sure the next model's going to be great as an Antibot. He malfunctions and starts going crazy, like you do, and he's taken away by the security officer named Wells. Despite the Tinkerer nailing one of the judges on the side, the Grafter is declared the winner of this little contest, which I guess is enough to divide the city into two parties, the Technocrats and the Biotists. Too bad all the marketing people live in the next town over. These names were really the best you could do? We're told via narration about the Ancients, who apparently look down on the city and act as arbiters of justice, stability, and I guess everything else not based in the town's two schools of science. But they're strangely silent when a mysterious plague called the Blight works its way through the world. Enter COVID/lockdown joke here, moving on. Because this the Blight somehow affects people in wildly different ways, there's no single cure or treatment for it, and everyone goes to the Tinkerer or the Grafter to deal with their varied afflictions.
One city became two, and the blight continued to spread.
Too bad they didn't look into any medical science.
They have a tinkerer, they have a grafter, they can't get a doctor?
But oh no, that one judge lady dies, and we're supposed to be really sad by this, but it's actually just kind of surprising because the Tinkerer looks like he was designed to be one of the antagonists, and you're not expecting him to have a relationship with this woman to be anything more than just one of convenience. Seriously, he looks like Frollo playing Dr. Neo Cortex. How is this guy not a villain? But no, apparently this is genuinely heartbreaking, and he builds the daughter that they never had. Which needed electricity to work, I guess. Isn't she a clockwork girl? As in, you just wind her up and let her go?
Oh my god, it's creepy!
That's because she's a dead ringer for Jonathan Taylor Thomas's Pinocchio.
I told you I was done with this Pinocchio bullshit. Why are you making me watch this?
Because my executive producers asked for it.
Thank you all.
I'm sorry you don't like her design, sweetheart, but I think she looks kinda cute. Which only begs the question as to why the Tinkerer had to go out of his way to make Tybalt look so hideous. We get a little montage of the Tinkerer spending the next several years educating his unnamed creation, which is also weird. She's a robot, right? Why is he teaching her instead of just programming her with what he wants her to know? Did TikTok from Return to Oz have a formal education before thinking, I want to make something of myself one day. I think I will join the Army of Oz. No, he was designed and mechanically calibrated to kick ass and take names. What's the point in educating the Clockwork Girl? Is she expected to leave home and pursue a career of her own one day? Because robots don't work like that. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of town, Huxley, the monster baby, is literally the poster boy for grafting, which presents a rather unique way of dealing with the blight.
This man was blind until we grafted a sea monster to his face.
I can't blink.
Sea monster? Get it?
But Admiral Wells, now the right-hand bird lady of the Ancients, does not like what she sees. I can relate.
Let me make this very clear. The Tinkerer designed my army of Korvax. The Tinkerer gave me Tybalt.
Hey!
You created an infestation of flying vermin. Do these creatures prevent the effects of the blight?
Do your robots prevent the effects of the blight? The Grafter is positive that biotist science will one day save them, but Wells is rightfully unconvinced, and she takes off.
Dad, you heard her. She wouldn't even look at me. She thinks I'm a freak like the rest of them.
You are!
She's right.
Later that night, the Tinker is holding a party to finally unveil his greatest creation. Seems like he could have done that years ago if he just programmed the knowledge that she's supposed to have instead of wasting all this time teaching her, but whatever. Yep, that music sounds appropriate in a steampunk world. I'd sooner imagine these people to be playing music that sounds more like the Cantina Band from Star Wars. Hey baby, do you know what this genre of music is called?
Yes, I do, and you're not allowed to say it here.
Of course not. For some reason, Huxley has decided to crash the party, where he runs into the Clockwork Girl, who is wearing a cloak? Shouldn't she be naked to show off her technological sophistication?
That's so she can have a big reveal later on.
Okay, shouldn't she be backstage somewhere instead of wandering around and not mingling?
Nah, it's fine. And her disguise is perfect with the key coming out the top of her hood.
They get to talking, and of course become fast friends.
I like your outfit. Did you make it?
Yeah. Do you think I fit in?
Do you want to?
Yes. As far as you're concerned, everyone should want to fit in. You're made completely of gears and springs that have been perfectly fitted into the miracle of robotic life that is you. As such, you're not going to want to rage against the machine or go against the grain in any capacity, and you're not going to think that anyone else should want to either. You want and you need to fit in. You're a clock. That is your entire existence. They make plans to meet at the only tree in town, no horticulturalists in the City of Science, She sneaks away from the party before the Tinkerer can show her up to his guests. Then we get this weird little scene where the Clockwork Girl wanders into the Tinkerer's workshop.
All tangled up, I can't seem to get untied.
Not only does her apparent confusion and wonder make no sense, wasn't she raised in this room? But what's up with this song? It sounds like there should be a montage or something to go with it. Maybe she's building something, or Huxley is trying to pretty himself up for their kinda sorta not really date. Did the movie forget the montage? And it's here that the Clockwork Girl picks a name for herself. Tesla. Implying that Nikola Tesla is part of this universe? She sneaks out to meet with Huxley when this happens.
Hey, technocrat!
What you doing, metalhead?
All metal!
That's pretty shiny.
Oh hi, biotists who are for some reason designed to look like the Droogs from A Clockwork Orange?
You know, for kids.
Look at her running those tin legs, eh?
I think that's the Clockwork Girl we've been hearing about.
How did you hear about her? The guests at her coming out party barely heard about her. She gets away from the characters that have no business being in a kids' movie, and she makes it to her little rendezvous with Huxley, and they start getting to know each other better.
My dad made the Marmakeets the same way he made me.
But you're not mechanical.
No, I was grown. My dad grafted me from a bunch of stuff. He added a second heart and parts of beasts and kind of... I think it involves sewing.
You think it involved sewing? Your body is covered in scars that'll apparently never heal, and you think it involved sewing?
And why was Huxley, grafted with only one horn?
He wasn't. He had two when he was a baby, and that one fell off sometime between then and now.
Okay, so why doesn't his dad graft a new one on? This is supposed to be the superior science, isn't it?
The weirdness continues as Tesla shares a little bit of herself with Huxley by putting her hands over his eyes, allowing him to see what she sees. If you're going to include a feature like that on a robot, why not just put a viewfinder in the back of its head? Tesla is actually able to see the blight, and their moment comes to an end as they see a high concentration of it emanating from the castle of the ancients. They decide to investigate on their own, because for some reason they don't think that their scientist/political leader parents would want to do something about this shocking new discovery. So they take a boat to Admiral Wells' base to borrow an airship that'll take them to the castle. Wouldn't their neighbors have any number of wacky inventions that could take them there? Why wouldn't the Tinkerer, master inventor that he is, have an airship of his own? They make their way up to the surprisingly well-lit garbage hatch, out of which a human skeleton was dumped. This looks safe. But they're immediately captured. Wells tells the Tinkerer of his daughter's late-night shenanigans, and he comes to pick her up in the airship that he owns. Good job, you little morons. The Tinkerer can't yet bring his little girl home with him until she's been cleansed.
Your construction will be returned to you once we've performed the necessary cleansing.
What do you mean?
The monster's influence has made her, less than pure.
Ew. She says that Tesla's mind has been corrupted by Huxley, and the only thing they can do is wipe her memory clean. Since Daddy Tinkerer never thought of making a backup of her collective memories or something, he busts Huxley out of his cell and asks him to save her. Why doesn't he just do it himself? These Gartham Birdbot things look pretty easy to take down.
He can't do that because Tesla's on the upper level and it's too heavily guarded.
Oh. Darn. He gives Huxley his little zappy staff without bothering to tell him how to use it. Thanks, Daddy. Not like it matters, since apparently Tesla has super strength, and she's able to free herself on her own. They fight their way through these security bot things, which focus more on looking interesting than being, useful in any way.
Keep going!
Huxley?
You go ahead. Get us the ship. I'll take care of this one.
Are you sure?
I don't know how to fly an airship.
Wait a minute. Back it up a bit.
Are you sure?
I don't know how to fly an airship.
Did she just roll her eyes? Okay, so they say she was built with emotions, but why would a robot need a sense of sarcasm? Why is she rolling her eyes at this kid for trying to save her copper-plated ass?
Probably for the same reason I am. He doesn't know how to fly a ship, but he doesn't know how to fight these things either.
He's got a better chance at stumbling through a fight than he does learning how to fly an airship on the fly.
It's also worth pointing out that this little battle royale is accompanied with another pop song, so I guess it only makes sense that this airship escape would be backed up by cowboy music.
The soundtrack is just as confused as the rest of the movie.
The Tinkerer has been helping with their escape, somehow, and now it's time for him to fly the coop. Let us away, magical golden boobs!
Or the gilded nutsack. The design choices in this world are questionable at best.
The kids get away and make it to the Castle of the Ancients, which appears to have been completely abandoned. And no, it's never explained what the deal is with all the bird imagery in this movie. The security officers are wearing what looks like traditional plague doctor masks in this world that looks anything but traditional. We got these bird-like robots. The Castle of the Ancients is decorated with statues of giant barn owls. Why? The kids find that Wells has beaten them there, and she exposits that she's been standing in for the Ancients during their absence for the sake of maintaining peace in the city. Since Huxley thinks she's behind the blight, we get another fight scene.
Murderer! Not yet!
You can tell that this fight is really tense by the music.
Are they gonna have a dance-off?
Dance off, bro!
You're just a frenemy? Not really, no. What is this? Did a song from Descendants work its way into the soundtrack? It sounds like Mal singing to and or about Uma. They eventually make it into the heart of the castle, from where the blight seems to be coming, where they meet the real mastermind who's been running things from the start. T-Bolt! Huh?
Do not speak to me as though I were a servant.
So he can talk now?
Explain the meaning of this treachery.
You should be honored. You've just met the greatest inventor of all time.
So you made yourself taller, so what?
This? This is nothing. I'm talking about an invention that changed the entire world for the better.
He means the blight. He started it.
How?
I worked in the Tinkerer's lab, studied the grafter's methods, and created a device more complicated than any human, any petty, selfish, cowardly human could understand. And when the Tinkerer passed me off to Admiral Wells, I found the perfect place for my invention to thrive. It worked.
Then you're the reason the ancients left.
Let's just say they were the first victims of the blight.
That can't be true.
Ha! It's your turn now to obey my orders, to fear me.
Okay. Let's break this down. 1. The Tinkerer said that this was the first machine to ever have a working brain. The first machine to have a functional brain ends up being smarter than its creator? Sorry, not buying it. 2. He says that he studied the grafter's methods? I assume that his exposure to humanity before his unveiling was limited only to the Tinkerer, and what would he be doing with anything having to do with grafting? 3. Why is he doing this? To look back at the Tinkerer handing him over to Wells, it kinda looks like he's out to destroy humanity for the sake of getting revenge on his father for rejecting him. Nothing wrong with a little Frankenstein story. But he said he was already working on this plan before this point. So again, I have to ask, what is his motivation for creating this ridiculously complicated virus that no one knows how to fight? 4. He said he killed the Ancients? We never see these people or how they operate, but are we really expected to believe that these superior beings who have been keeping humanity in check like this for hundreds of years wouldn't have contingencies set in place for any potential uprisings? Wells coming out as the twist villain for the sake of maintaining law and order was fine. We didn't need this! T-Bolt tosses Wells away like she's nothing. The set dressing comes to life to make even more problems for our heroes. Tesla goes deeper into this furnace where the blight seems to be coming from, making me wonder how the hell this virus isn't just, burning up. And T-Bolt follows her inside so we can do the whole dark side joining thing. When all of a sudden, their dads crash onto the scene.
Huxley! Are you okay?
Well, you plowed right into it with a car, so I don't think so. So they help even the odds a bit.
Korvax! Fall back!
Wait a minute, how is she alive? There's nothing for her to climb or grab onto. How did she get back up here? Then again, she is played by Carrie-Anne Moss, so maybe she just tapped into the Matrix or something, I don't know. Tesla tricks T-Bolt into destroying the Blight. This in turn destroys him, after he was already falling apart for some reason. And it appears that Tesla bit it too.
I know what's going to happen. Tesla dies because of her damaged heart, somehow, and because they established way at the beginning of the movie that Huxley has 2 hearts, he's going to give her one of his, and then she'll be okay.
No. That's not how technology works. You can't throw a heart into a toaster and make that organ magically work.
Okay, then you tell me why they established that he had 2 hearts.
Son of a bitch, there is no other reason for them to have done that! Yep, it turns out that's exactly what happens. As they escape from the castle before it crashes, Huxley is put under, and his dad takes out one of his hearts and transplants it into Tesla. Yeah, never mind how Tesla doesn't have any circulatory system, or the fact that she's supposed to be run by turning the giant key in her head. This just somehow works. And good job, Tinkerer. You gave her the new heart and it messed up her eyes to the point where she can see inside of her own head. And with that, years of hatred between the classes disappears immediately. And I guess we're just supposed to ignore how the Blight is still a thing? It's not like anyone discovered a cure for it. Doesn't that mean everyone is still vulnerable to it, even if the thing that originally created it is gone? Oh well, who cares? Happy ending! So that was The Clockwork Girl, and oh boy is it broken. The animation is ugly, the vocal performances are bland and rushed, the world building and application of science are all kinds of confused, T-Bolt as the twist villain doesn't make any sense, and the story is an absolute mess. It's obvious to see where they were trying to go with this material, but they didn't put a whole lot of effort into how they were supposed to get there. It's like the movie is a model kit, and all that they had to go on while building it was looking at the box. The movie has the parts to give us something entertaining and interesting, but they didn't care to read the instructions on how to build it. If you come across this movie, reject it with all of your knowledge of good cinemaology. See you later.
Subscribe, like, follow.